Moving countries with children is one thing. Putting those children into a school system where they don't speak the language, don't know anyone, and have no frame of reference for anything around them, that is something entirely different. Before we moved to Portugal, we spent weeks researching schools. We read forums, joined Facebook groups, watched videos, and we left almost every one of them with the same feeling, a vague reassurance that it would probably be fine, but very little that was specific, honest, or actually useful. This video is what we wished existed. We have now been through the Portuguese school system with two children, a school-age child and a preschooler. We have seen it from the inside, the good, the unexpected, the things that genuinely moved us, and things worth knowing before your children walk through those gates for the very first time. If you are moving to Portugal with kids and the school question is keeping you up at the night, stay with us, because what Portugal did for our children surprised us in a way we are still processing. Let's start with the basics, because understanding how the Portuguese school system is structured helps everything make sense. No tuition, no registration fees, nothing. The school day runs from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. This is your core day, structured, consistent, and long enough to give children genuine immersion in the language and curriculum every single day. But if you are a working parent, and as many expat families are, Portugal has thought about you too. Most state schools offer extended care called CAF, Componente de Apoio à Família, which covers before and after school hours. Daycare essentially starts from 7 a.m. and runs until 7 p.m. if needed. The additional cost for extended care is nominal. We are talking about a small monthly fee that bears absolutely no resemblance to what childcare costs in Sweden or most of the Northern Europe. The school lunch is provided daily, hot, real food, a proper cooked meal in the middle of the day, typically soup and a main course, fruit, and a dessert. The cost is €1.2 per child per day. For a full school month, that works out to roughly €24 per child, which for a hot daily lunch is remarkable value for any standard. And for families who qualify for Echelon A, the lower income support bracket, school meals are completely free. The support is built into the system quietly and without fuss. You don't have to fight for it or feel awkward about it. It is simply there. When expat families arrive in Portugal, there is a gravitational pull towards international schools. We felt it too. The language is familiar, the curriculum resembles what your children already know. The transition feels less frightening on paper. But then you look at the numbers. International schools in Portugal charge anywhere between $800 to $1,500 per child per month in tuition. Some of the more established ones in Lisbon and the surrounding areas are considerably higher. For two children, that is potentially $2,000 to $3,000 every single month. Before rent, before groceries, before anything else. That number would have dismantled the entire financial case for moving to Portugal in the first place. State school is free, and beyond the cost, we made a deliberate choice. We believed that placing our children inside the local language and culture, even if the first weeks were uncomfortable, would give them something that a sheltered international environment simply couldn't. A second language acquired in the childhood stays for life. The discomfort of the transition is temporary. The bilingualism is permanent. That was our reasoning. We are going to be honest about the beginning, because most content about this skips straight to the success story and leaves out the part in the middle that parents actually need to hear. The first weeks were hard. Children walked into classrooms where they understood nothing. Not the lesson, not the instructions, not the conversations happening around them. They came home every afternoon exhausted, in a way that had nothing to do with physical tiredness. It was the mental effort for existing 6 hours in a world that made no sense yet. Our youngest cried out one morning before the school. Not dramatically, just that small, honest kind of sad that children do when they don't have the words to explain what they are feeling. We sat with it because it was real and there was no shortcut through it. What changed things, and this is the part we genuinely did not anticipate, was the teachers in both schools across both towns. The response to our children not speaking Portuguese was not impatience or indifference. It was warmth, inclusion. Children were brought into activities even when they couldn't fully participate. They were watched without being made to feel watched. They were given space to find their footing without being left alone to do it. By the end of second week, our eldest taught 3 classmates how to count 10 in Swedish. That was the moment we exhaled. This is the detail we have not seen in any expect content about Portuguese school, and it might be the most useful thing in this entire video. Our son did not study Portuguese with the rest of his classmates. From almost the moment he enrolled, the school identified that he needed a structured, dedicated approach to the language acquisition, and they had one ready. It's called Português Língua Não Materna, Portuguese as a non-native language. A completely separate teacher, 4 dedicated sessions every single week, a curriculum designed specifically for children arriving in the Portuguese school system without the language. We did not request this, we did not push for it or navigate any complicated process to access it. The school simply identified the need and offered the program as a matter of course. For any parent sitting at home right now, worrying about how their child will cope linguistically in a Portuguese classroom, that program exists. It is the part of the system. Ask about it the moment you enroll. In our experience, schools are not always quick to advertise it, but when you ask, it is there. Our younger child presented with a different set of challenges when we arrived. Moving countries is a significant disruption for any child. For preschooler, it's even more total. Everything familiar disappeared at once. The language, the environment, the face, the routines, everything. Our youngest came with some existing anxiety around the move, a language barrier that at preschool age feels completely overwhelming, and some speech development consideration we were already working through. We were nervous about how the Portuguese system would respond to that combination. But without a lengthy assessment process, without us having to fight or educate loudly or navigate complex bureaucracy, our youngest was placed into what Portugal called inclusive education. Additional professional support, specialists who understood that small child was carrying a great deal, new country, new language, new everything, and who responded to that not with a waiting list or a form to fill, but with actual present consistent support. The progress has been real, the care has been real, and the feeling of knowing your child is being genuinely seen and helped rather than just accommodated, this is something we are still grateful for every single day. Portugal's approach to inclusive education in the schools is not bureaucratic or reluctant. It is human, and for a family arriving with a child who needed a little extra, that humanity made all the difference. Our experience is that Portuguese system responds with support rather than reluctance, but they need to know. There is a lot more about the school system which I want to tell you. So let's stay tuned for the part 2, in which I will tell more about the bullying culture that you have often heard, the support from the principals, the language support for the parents. As this is the part of the Portugal that does not always make into the content, and it is the Portugal we think you deserve to know about. Next, we are going to tell you how to enroll in the school, so stay tuned. Thank you.